In lesson 58 part 2, having examined the concept of the overall swing movement and the journey of the club head, we understand that the journey of that club head is living close to what's called the swing plane. Now, at this point, posture becomes very important. Lots of people think that the grip should be taught first. Well, the fact of the matter is, you can't have a good grip without good posture before it. So posture is going to permit a good grip, but posture is always going to allow the body to swing in the correct plane. So I've got my 6-iron here, and the 6-iron is the middle of the 13 long clubs. And when I step into Explanar, I take this long dowel rod and I just check that the swing plane is through my upper sternum. Okay? Now I do realise that the club is off the floor a little bit, but that doesn't really affect the understanding of the swing motion. So you can see that this is the way that I'm made. And if I stood here and held the golf club, I'd be using like a carpet beater or an axe or a baseball bat. It'd be like playing golf with a 5-foot tee peg. I'd be swinging in a horizontal plane. But because the ball is on the floor, of course, we live in an inclined plane. So here's a simple drill. If you just take your normal body posture and stand nicely, then put your feet golfing distance apart with the toes slightly turned out. You can see from the top of my head to my coccyx is the natural line of the spine. Now, my arms hang next to my thighs. I can't grip the club. But when I tip from the hip, when I lean forward, then of course I facilitate a grip. I can't grip the club with my thighs and my body in the way. I have to tip from the hip and lean forward to allow the grip to occur. But I think what you can also see is as the body leans forward, I go from axe plane to driver plane to 6-iron plane to wedge plane by virtue of the angle of the spine. So, starting off with our natural structure, feet golfing distance apart, I tip from the hip. And as I tip forward, for every inch my backside goes out, my shoulders go forward. I think you can appreciate that if my backside against a wall and I tip forward, I would fall over. But there's a counterbalance that occurs quite naturally. If you keep your spinal posture and tip from the hip, as your bottom goes out, your top goes forward, and then you get the body angle for the club. Lots of people don't realise that the body angle changes from club to club. So here's normal, or close to normal in my case. Upright, driver, 6-iron and wedge. And of course Explanar would have to move to reflect that swing plane. Now if I turn towards you to show you my body in the perpendicular, feet golfing distance apart, my feet turned out just a little bit but evenly turned out, you'll notice that my palms hang inwards by about 45 degrees. The first thing that changes in terms of not being neutral is if we bring the palms together, the bones in the forearm are now parallel. Naturally, these bones roll over each other. That's why my hands hang inwards. So if I put my hands on my thighs or put my hands together, these bones are now in parallel, and this is the start of what we call a neutral grip. So just to recap there, I have to incline from the hip from normal to driver to 6-iron to wedge. That's always going to be true. And as I lean forward, it allows me to hold the club. So you need posture to live within the swing plane, and you need posture to allow a good grip. So let's just go on to the golf club itself. Here I am. I lean forward. If the club is in front of me, the 6-iron in this case, can you see how naturally my hand falls onto the club? And then my right hand locates over the left thumb. Now I'm going to look at the grip in detail in the next section, but what I hope you've understood is the posture facilitates the grip. The palms are going to be facing each other as though you're sort of clapping your hands or praying, but then you have neutral forearm structure, and then it's a question of linking the hands together. So we haven't departed too much from the natural structure of the body. We've taken our natural structure, we've put our feet golfing distance apart, feet turned out a little bit, and then we tip from the hip. There's our posture, and the hands now come together as though the palms were facing. So, if we're going to swing in a plane, that plane has to be suitable to our body, and it has to be suitable for the club that we're using. There are 13 long clubs in my golf bag, from wedge to driver. The wedge will be an upright swing with the body leaning forward a lot. The driver will be an upright body posture with a flat swing and the 6-iron in between. So we can see that posture dictates the plane and path of the swing, and posture allows a good grip. So let me just give you a couple of drills. And I've got my 6-iron here. And then if I stand up and hold the club in my hand, let the club just fall on my thighs, just like a regard and swing, really. And then what I want to show you is this. I've got a little bit of knee flex, and now I tip forward. So there is driver posture, there is 6-iron posture, and there's wedge posture. Can you see that? So as you lean forward, your arms come away from your body. It's a mistake to sit back and let the arms fall here. It's a common mistake in club golfers. We have to tip from the hip. Okay, so just try that at home. All right, keeping your spine in line. Let your body tip forward from the hip. You'll counterbalance, and you'll see the body angle changing. The other one that you can use is, if I turn to you, I can hold the club across my shoulders and go back, and you can see that I can turn the horizontal plane, I can lean in driver plane, I can lean in 6-iron plane, and I can lean in wedge plane. So this is a really good drill for the motor skill of rotation. Before I designed Explanar, this is one of my key drills, and it's still valuable today, and you can do this indoors as well. So here, have a look at that. I'm standing upright, I've got the club across my shoulder line, and I turn my shoulders back and through. Then I can incline, and I can do it as though it were a driver swing, and then a 6-iron swing, and then a wedge swing. So, in the next session, we're going to look at the grip in more detail.